Anyways,
It's fucking scary.
Yeah. Welcome to my world. I see them all the time. Ticks, snakes. I hate snakes.
Out on the farm, we're gonna get to that, man.
I like snakes.
Snakes are cool.
Absolutely
I do like me
not.
some snakes.
hell no.
No.
Always
No,
like we're
thank
trying to
you.
go get them.
Only good snake is a dead snake.
There it is.
I had this mean.
There it is. Yep.
I had this mean cousin that lived with me, that lived with us in high school, and like, yeah, I put a little snake in a jar, and like, I had some saran wrap on the top, and she hated it. She was scared as shit, and I like held her, and I was like acting like I was dumping it on her. She was terrorized.
You were mean.
I had to create some kind of trauma because she was rude.
I had to create some kind of. I had to really do something
Naturally,
to really
of course, yeah.
affect her life.
She didn't have enough, so
Yeah, I had to affect her life.
you know what I mean.
I didn't want her to go through it easy.
Was she just going around like just normal? Like no.
My nephew, my mom, she's like terrified of snakes. Like she can go to sleep, have a dream, she'll wake up and she'll be like, snake was laying on top of her. My nephew, he put a fake one up under her pillow one day. When I tell you she almost had a heart attack, I was like, yep, no, can't do that no more.
Can't do that shit
Nah,
again.
she's 70 years old, can't do that.
Don't mess with it.
Yeah, that seems like you passed the statute of limitations on that joke, on that that prank.
Man.
All right, you fellas ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Camera's a little lower than usual.
A little low.
I had to duck under.
Oh, good. It might be a good angle. We'll check it out.
Because you got a short guy here today.
No, I had to go under the. Hey, we're about the same height, so I'm with you, Charles. Don't even worry about it.
He be acting like he's like 7 foot.
Dude,
all
everybody's just taller than anybody acts that
what
way.
the
You know what I'm
fuck?
saying?
Then you go to the Memphis Grizzlies
he-
game, and you're like, shit.
Yeah, then you're like, oh my God, we're all short.
What am I?
Yeah.
He be cracking all these short jokes, and I'm like, dude, you're not in the NBA.
It's the difference between 5'11 and 5'6 and a half, though.
But like, really, like, what can you do that's so special? You ain't dunking,
I can pee standing up.
Damn.
One of y'all-
Oh my God.
but you know that we both can. Like,
So fucking funny.
it goes back to like once again.
One day you're going to be at Walmart, and this lady is going to need help reaching something, and
It's gonna
he's
be
going to be
just
like,
out of reach.
"Ha, I got it.
I can jump really high.
Yeah, there it is.
He knocks the whole thing down.
I can jump really high.
Hey, real shit though. So we're in the store, and somebody comes in, and they're trying to get some protein off the top shelf. He's like, yeah, well, what I'm gonna do here? He's looking. I said, you want me to get it, bro? He said, yeah, man. Just do it. I don't want to embarrass myself because he know he can't reach all the way up to the top to the very back.
He lying.
He know he can't do it.
If you weren't there, he'd be
he know he can't do it.
That never
knows he can't do it.
Oh my God.
See, if you weren't there, you start sweating bullets. He'd be like, actually, somebody already bought that one.
Yeah. He's just like, no, I can see it right there.
He's got a stepladder. He's got a stepladder in the back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you or do you not?
Listen, I'm with Charles on this one, so hit the intro on him, Joe.
Even if I could reach it, I'll use a step ladder.
Yeah.
Stop it. Why use all that extra energy?
Oh man.
Yeah, I get that. What is up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit podcast. What this podcast does is bring individuals from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, to share their journey throughout life, their successes, their failures, their traumas, and everything in between. So definitely check this out if that is for you. It's always worthwhile. As always, we have my man Logan Hyder of Cinema 83 in the house.
Hello,
doing his
hello,
thing.
hello. What's up,
doing his
everybody?
thing. We also have a little special guest with us here today that is just tagging along. But
Yeah.
we love having the studio. He's been in here a few times.
Absolutely.
Give it up for my man, Mr. Charles Rucker.
Yes, sir.
What's up?
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here as always.
He's back.
Yes.
Love it.
But today, it's not about Charles.
It's not.
It's about my man and guest, Joffery Vanderbilt.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
What a
Good to
name,
have
by
you,
the
my
way.
man.
What a
Appreciate it,
name.
man. Thank
Which
you. I
all
appreciate it.
little known fact, they actually named Vanderbilt University after him.
After him, yep. It
And the
started with him.
hospital. He started a hospital.
a
and
totally
everything.
different name
So
before that,
It's a
yeah.
pretty big deal, okay, guys?
Bet you didn't know that.
The House
you
of
didn't
Vanderbilt.
I got a funny story about that too.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear. But we'll get to that. That being said, Joffrey, welcome, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm stoked. I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah,
So,
man. We've run into each other quite a few times.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, gotta get you on the podcast. Gotta get you on the podcast. So it's good that we finally linked it up, man, because you're, from what I know, you're a pretty impressive guy. You've got a lot going on. And so I think it's pretty, I find you pretty interesting. I'm like, man, I want to get his story and learn more about him. So thank you for being here, dude. Real quick, just give us a small briefing of like what it is that you do. currently, and then we'll dive into that more later.
So our main business is landscaping. We contract through the state of Tennessee, where we cut grass along the interstates and the right-of-ways.
Nice.
We've got about 65 employees on that side. Business partners with Charles with Ruck Nutrition. My dad and I, we own about 400 head of cattle. And I'm also a professional sports gambler. So I got about 4 different things going on. So, I stay pretty busy.
I'm definitely interested to hear about every bit of that. But we'll get to that here soon. Now, what I'm going to need you to do is take it back for us.
Okay.
So let's start at the beginning of the journey, where you're from, where you're raised, and just take us through your life and things that have influenced you and, brought you to where you're at today.
So growing up, small town called Mason. Mason, Tennessee is right outside of Memphis. It's probably 30 minutes from Memphis. I don't know if you're familiar with Covington, Brownsville, Jackson area.
I've been to Jackson. I've been to
Okay.
Jackson, but just once. Not my favorite.
Yeah, it's literally nothing. It's grown a lot now, but at the time growing up, we had a population of like 812 people in our town. So very, very, very small town.
It's nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Growing up, I played sports, but really it was all about a hustle. My dad, he did everything. My mom and dad, they're still together. We just celebrated 50 years of marriage for them over this past weekend.
Congratulations to them, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's an amazing feat right there.
Yeah, it truly is.
To be one person for 50 years, that's a long fucking time.
Yeah. It's a gift.
But growing up, that's where I kind of got all of my drive from. With my dad, always just seeing him doing stuff. Like, he was a detective growing up for 20 years of our life, but at the same time, outside of that, he farmed and just did anything, whatever he had to do to make ends meet,
Yeah, for sure.
So I remember it was times when, growing up, I would get off the bus at a hayfield where I'd jump off and go straight and get on the tractor. Like, it was, hey, you go to work first and then you do your homework next, versus nowadays it's like, hey, get home, do your homework. Once you finish your homework, you can go do other stuff. But no, it was always a grind, and for that, I appreciated it because growing up.
I got a quick question,
Okay.
bro. And we'll get to your family dynamic later, but, you said that you were instilled all this from a young age and you had to, you get off the bus and start farming.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, it's totally different for your kids now.
Yeah.
So how would you say that you implement that same work ethic into them without the, the farming aspect, right? Because it's obviously a little bit different for them.
It is a little bit different for them. And I think it's always that situation where you say, I want them to have it better than what I had,
Yeah. Because you had to.
I had to. My daughter, boy, she's 6 years old, but she's a little queen. And I'm enjoying it. I really am. But I think, as far as that, like right now, we're just teaching them more so the value of $1.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Understanding, like, hey, this is not given to you.
Yeah.
Nothing is given to you. You have to like earn it.
For sure.
Teaching them how to earn money so that they appreciate it.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, like you said, you can kind of give somebody something so fast that they just feel like they're entitled to it, or
Of course,
they should
right.
have it. So as we grow, but my kids, like even Aaliyah, JJ, both of them, they'll jump on the tractor with me. They start riding, trying to figure out, learn.
Yeah.
They know the difference about the cows and so forth on. So just trying to instill into them, say, hey, look, Daddy still works. Daddy still does this. Daddy still does that. So I want you to understand that. And but they're 6 and 4 right now.
Of
So
course.
they're starting to learn it. But as they start to get to that 8-6-year-old range, that's when I'll actually be able to push a lot of that into them. So
Of
they
course,
can
man.
understand.
So you were. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, all I was going to say is there's still a ton of value there, though.
It is.
In the same
It
way.
is.
Yeah,
It is,
just in
yeah.
your own way.
So you were just talking about how you're grateful that he instilled that because you were saying growing up, and then
I'm sorry. say that one
you said growing up when you were talking about how he instilled that work ethic, and you said you were really grateful for that, and then you said because growing up, and then
Yeah. Well, like I said, growing up, it was just one of those things. Like my brothers, so I have 3 brothers. Well, 2. I have an uncle that's like a brother to us. He grew up in the house. So my granddad, he had a son when he was 70 years old, and
your dad
my granddad.
was it
So-
your dad?
But no, so my granddad.
Oh,
which
the
is-
uncle that you're talking
yeah.
about. That's why he's
Yeah.
so much younger.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah.
I got you. I was
So
like trying to put that together.
He's right there at the same age as my brothers. So my brothers, they're 10 years older than me.
Gotcha.
So I was like, am I a mistake? Like, what happened? They used to always tell me I was adopted, you know? So I was like, man, y'all crazy. But so they're all 10 years older than me. And we had that huge gap. Of course, they were going off to college and stuff like that. But, you know, I was there with my dad and my mom. And my mom, she worked at Charms Candy Factory for 36 years. And so I used to always get free blow pops, and I don't know if you ever, you know, see the lollipops or whatever, like Tootsie Roll.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would hustle and sell those at school. Like she could buy a whole box for $0.25, and I would go to school and sell each individual one for $0.25.
Damn.
Very nice.
So
Very
Entrepreneur early.
nice.
So
he's
I
like,
was-
oh, look at the profit margin on this.
Man, what? So I was hustling on that, and then like, you know, as far as like we was baling hay or doing anything with the cattle, that was helping put my brothers and everybody through college.
Okay,
so
cool.
that was kind of like my way of, you know, helping and being there. And you know, I think I told my dad this weekend, I said, man, you got a lot of years of free labor out of me. Like a lot of years of free
Thanks,
labor.
Dad.
Yeah. And so as you know, we progressed on through high school, then we opened up a restaurant. We had a seafood restaurant.
Okay.
Like to this day, I don't even eat seafood for that reason.
Oh, really?
We
Just
had a
being
seafood-
around it so much.
I love seafood.
Yeah, I bet. Dude.
Right.
We owned a seafood restaurant for 10 years, and I ate it like crazy. But then after we sold it, I was like,
Never again.
I don't want it. I'm done. My wife loves seafood. I will go there and I will sit there and watch her eat it and just like, go ahead. Once we finish, we're going to Five Guys. And I get a burger.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Shout out
I
to
get some
Five
rolls or
Guys.
something over here.
Anything, right? Yeah. So, but you know, even with that part of it, like I was a waiter inside of there, and it was always something. We always did something different all the time.
Yeah, dude.
And, you know,
Seafood, farming, all.
yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
yeah.
Straight
So,
hustlers.
yeah, it was my dad, man. He met my dad earlier this year, and I don't know. That's just something about him that he instilled into us. It was just, hey, you know, always, never. Just because you got this particular thing over here that you're going to work for, or you're going to work for somebody or whatever, like never put all your eggs in one basket. Always make sure you got something else that you can go put your hands on. And so, you know, for that reason, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I found that I was actually having that conversation with my wife recently, talking about putting your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously, like, that can translate to a lot of things. Like, obviously, you get married. Like, I put all my eggs in that basket, right? That's my wife.
right.
You know, you know, with the business is like, if I wanted to get to where I want to get, like, I had to, like, put it all in one basket, right?
Yep.
But then now I've got the opportunity to go to school, because not only does that work with the business, but it also offers other opportunity as well. But yeah, I see what you're saying. You know, I guess, I don't know, I'm just thinking on like just life in general in the past several years, because when I first started this, I was trying to do all kinds of other stuff. But
Yeah.
it took so
Right.
much
Yeah.
focus away from this
Absolutely.
and what I'm trying to achieve here. And I was like, you know what? I need to just cut off trying to do everything else.
Yeah.
Once I get this to the level I want to be, then I can dip into some other things. But I mean, that's really interesting. He was just like, so he was just an entrepreneur all over the place,
Oh man,
pretty much.
all over the place. Like I can, I remember it was moments where we would go to car auctions and we would buy cars that had been repoed or something like that, and we'd buy 4 or 5 at a time, and then we'd come back home, we'd fix them up, and we'll set them up on the hill on the front, and people would come by and they would say, "Hey, I want to buy a car," and we'd sell it.
Hell yeah.
That's
Like-
awesome.
So
Didn't matter.
where do you think that he got that spirit from?
Man, honestly, it came from as he was growing up. I mean, he knew that he had to dig down in there somewhere and pull it from somewhere, because, I mean, you know, he had my 2 brothers and it was my mom, and then I came along after the fact. But he was just like, hey, I want them to have it better than I did, and I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make
Survival
it happen.
mode.
And so survival mode kind of kicked in, and from there, it was no looking back, you know?
Right.
Was that was it driven by faith at all, or was faith a big thing in the house at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. Let me tell you. I was a junior deacon growing up.
There you go. There
So
you go.
yeah, right. Yeah.
What does that even mean?
A
junior deacon?
So,
What does that even mean?
so yeah, we
Charles is dying.
Junior deacon.
so you know, hey, put it like this: when you're in church, you got your pastor, you got your deacon board. Like, yeah, I'm setting up there.
Yeah.
You know, so
Oh, okay.
but
So
yeah,
like involved in the church.
I was definitely very, very involved in church. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, like that's something that holds real dear to me.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, from my perspective, you know, everything without God, none of it would be possible. So, and that's one of the biggest things that, you know, he instilled into us.
That's what I was gonna say.
And I mean, even to this day,
Yeah.
like, you know, he and I, if I don't talk to my dad in the morning by 6:30, 7 o'clock, that's a problem.
That's awesome.
We have a conversation every morning.
That's awesome.
We talk every day about 6, 7 times a day.
At
Oh,
least.
yeah, I love that.
At least.
So he knows if we're
Charles
on
like, bro, we're trying to get some shit done, man.
hey, if we're on the phone or something, and my dad called, he's like, and I'll be like, hey, Charles, hold on, my dad's calling.
I hang up instantly. I'm not waiting on hold. There's no way. That conversation is going to be short.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, but
That's awesome though. That's amazing. My dad's my hero, and so I feel
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I wish I could talk to him more, and yeah. So I feel that.
I had a conversation with, actually, it was my barber this morning, and he was telling me that his son is 22, I believe now, and his son just came to him and told him, said, hey man, you know, Dad, I want to be, you know, he's in school on a track scholarship, and he's going to get his degree on other stuff, but he said, hey, I'm a man, I need to trade,
Yeah.
and so I want to learn how to cut hair. And when he told him that, you know, he said, man, it really like stuck in me, and it gave up, you know, a piece of my heart or whatever. And I said, you know, honestly, I think every man, you know, as you get older and as you grow up, it's one of those things that, you know, you look for. It's one of those things that if your child follows in the footsteps that like what you did, it just makes you feel, you know, like,
Yeah.
Of
hey,
course.
I accomplished what I wanted to, and I made sure that I paved the way for them, and hopefully it's easier for them
Without
than
doubt.
it was for me.
Well, and they also
And I can
chose
teach
it,
them.
right? So
And
you're
they
talking about
chose
your
it.
kids are getting interested in the
Exactly.
farming thing. You're not saying like, hey,
I'm
I
not
need help
forcing
out
it
here.
down.
Let's go. They're
Right.
like, hey, what are you doing out
Right.
there? They're curious. So it's like a totally different thing.
And that was the thing with me. Like, I wasn't forced to do it. I love to do it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't one of those things like I felt like, oh, I got to be out
Yeah.
here all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be out there,
Yeah.
you know?
That's cool. It's about things the right way. I mean, I had somebody ask me like, well, you know, you grow this, like, you're gonna have Ozzy take it over, and like, if she wants to, you know,
Right,
that's her
right,
choice.
right.
I want
Yeah.
whatever she loves, I'm gonna help her, you know,
what you're
pursue
doing.
that.
Yep.
Right. That's
That's
what
it.
matters. But I mean, it'd be cool if she did be like, Dad, I want this. You know, I'd be
Right.
like, hell yeah. So, but hey, only time will tell.
Yeah, yeah,
But
right.
so going through, you know, that time in your childhood and high school. So this is obviously all the way
school,
through.
I
You're
guess.
doing all these things. What are some significant points of your life, like in school, you know, outside of the family dynamic that like really, you know, helped you grow, or something you learned from? That makes sense.
I'll be honest with you. I think one of the biggest things that happened with me is when I went off to college. So again, when I was in Mason or high school or whatever, growing up, we very small town. My graduating class was only like 700 people, 750 people or whatever. So I wasn't used to being around a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I was used to being around nothing but white people. Cause like that's all that was like
Whoa.
in that area.
I'm just kidding.
We're trying to say.
So you know, going to college, I went to Tennessee State University.
Okay.
So when I get to TSU, it's predominantly black.
Yeah, totally different.
So you know, I get to TSU, and I'll never forget it. It was my very first day, and I was sitting in class, and you know, you go from high school where it's 15 people in the class to you're in a college dorm, college auditorium where it's 40 or 50 or 60 people in the class. Right. And I'm sitting in the back of the class, and I look around, and I was like, I see nothing but black people.
You're like, not only is it more people.
I was like,
But they're black.
Yeah, he's like,
this is a culture shock right now. Like, what the hell is going on? Like,
It threw
I'm not
you
used to
off.
but
this.
was that exciting though?
That's
threw me
something
off.
like I would say if I went to TSU. I'd be like, whoa.
That's what. Yeah, that's what,
But
It threw me off, but at the same token, it was like one of those things like I wasn't used to it.
Yeah,
So you know
right,
what I mean? So
right,
I'm trying to like, you know.
right.
And at that point, I realized like how reserved, how shy I was, like how I was kind of in a shell somewhat
Yeah.
of a bit. Like only thing that I really knew was farming and, you know, the stuff that I did there locally with my parents. I had never really just been out of town. I had never really traveled or anything like that. And so at that point, it was kind of like a real moment where, okay, I got to find out who I am, like find myself.
That's
figure out
interesting.
What I like, what I don't like. Because growing, like now I see, even though I loved everything that I was doing with my, you know, my dad and my parents and everything, I was doing what they like.
Yeah.
And not what I like.
It's like a real
You
big
know?
jump off point for you too.
Yeah.
And the geographical difference.
Yeah.
You moved from Memphis to Nashville to New City.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
I went from the country to the city.
Yeah.
And I mean, most people will say, "Oh, Nashville isn't fast," but I mean, when you go from a small town to that, this is fast.
Right. When was that, like year-wise, too?
2002.
Yeah, so it's right when Nashville started going.
Right when it started growing.
So you see that a lot in like smaller towns. I mean, there's a beauty to it, but also you're like kind of in a bubble.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then the same's the opposite, right? If you grow up in the city and go to a small town, they're like,
What the hell?
What the hell is this person doing here? You know, they don't know nothing about this.
There's so many movies about people going from city to small town. They're like, oh, I love the simplicity of it. But then you go from the small town to the bit, and you're like, this is so exciting.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
And
And it's just a mindset thing too. I mean, we could go back to the conversation we had about differences, right? And like my spiritual beliefs and like me believing in what I do, and it being a big issue with her family at first. And, and it's just like, I'm not mad at them. Like that's all they've ever known. Anything outside of that is just like wrong, And to me, I can understand that more because that's just like, I guess when you're raised in a smaller town your whole life, you're conditioned to think and believe a certain way, like with everything. Like this is way of life. So anything foreign is just like, whoa, it can be quite uncomfortable. But the glory in that is that you took off and you did go to school and that forced you to grow more.
It did.
Yeah.
It definitely did. And, for that I did, I appreciated it. I had a great time in college. Like, I went from not really knowing much to knowing a whole lot, in terms of, and the one thing I appreciate about it is like, I've always said that, you can take the boy out the country, but you can't take the country out the boy. So, a lot of stuff that a lot of city kids didn't know, changing a tire or, doing certain things. It was like, how the hell you know that? Well, I don't know. It's just,
how don't you?
Yeah, why don't you know it? Like, this is what we naturally do down here, But then it'll be stuff, that you do in the city and you're like, oh, wow. I'm used to just streets. I'm used to just nothing but, secondary dirt roads.
You come up on a one way and you turn the wrong direction.
Yeah,
You're like, oh God.
I'm coming up down. I'm on freeways and I'm like, what the hell?
Dude, my stepdad I had me out doing landscaping and I hated it. I wasn't a person like I may do it on my house eventually, but never again will I touch that shit. But point being is that I remember this one time you just brought that up, a memory. I had a friend that like was riding his bike around our neighborhood and he like came up to me and I was like helping weed eat or blow out something. And he asked me if I was grounded. He was like, "What did you like? Were you in trouble?" And I was like, "What do you mean?"
That's wild.
He was like,
punishment.
He's like, "You're outside, like doing all this." I was like, "No." Like what? That just tells you the total. I mean, and that's in Mount Juliet. That's not even like in the middle of a city, but that's like, it's just a different mindset.
Right. And so, what was the rest of like that college journey like? Obviously, I mean, what did you go to school for?
So agricultural business.
Okay.
And honestly, it was really, so by the time I got to college, my dad had pretty much laid the foundation in terms of like landscaping. And the form of landscaping we don't do, say for instance, where we're going, cut someone's grass at their house or anything, is we contract through the state. So, we bid annually through state of Tennessee, TDOT. And we pick up contracts where we cut along the interstates and the right of way. So if you see tractors on the interstate and right of ways,
it's your guys.
most of the time is us.
Nice.
Yeah, we're not in. We used to be in Middle Tennessee, but we're not really in Middle Tennessee. We cut out in Maury County now, and most of the stuff is in West Tennessee.
That's a pretty big deal, though.
It is. It keeps us really busy. I think we cut anywhere between. I think this year we've got 22 counties in Tennessee that we cut.
It's crazy you even thought about that
crazy.
as a vehicle through landscaping. Like I wouldn't have even thought about that.
Yeah. A lot of people, they don't really know. Like, so my wife, when we first met, and that's a whole nother story. When we first met, she was like, what do you do? And I was like, well, we have guys that pick up trash along the interstates and the right of way, and we cut grass. And she was like, what?
Yeah, she's like, what the hell are
She's
you
like,
talking
what
about?
are you talking about? And I was like, on the interstate. There's grass on the interstates? I'm like, but a lot of people really don't pay attention to this shit.
that,
Like,
Yeah,
don't
true, I
pay
guess,
attention
yeah.
to like the interstate is nasty, or you don't pay attention to like the grass is like taller than freaking, Charles. But
Stop.
Oh my God. The timing on that was impeccable. Impeccable.
Hey, he kept that in his pocket.
Dude, that one was loaded up, bro. He's like, I know I'm going to talk about my business today.
Yeah.
I know Charles is going to be there. He's like, I got this.
This
one
is why he
loaded
brought
up.
you.
He was like, exactly. He was like, I'm gonna practice this tonight, just so it punch just
Oh
right.
my God. I'm
There you
done.
go.
That's so funny.
Welcome to our relationship.
That's funny as hell.
But yeah, man, like people don't really pay attention to it, so they don't really know, or they don't really understand it. But yeah, so I say all that to say, I really didn't have to go to college. It was more so my dad was like, hey, I want you to get the experience. I want you to understand. And, you know, I appreciate it because I was like, man, I ain't got to go to college because we already know what we're doing. And
right.
so forth on. But we were working for a corporated company at the time, like when I came to college. So I guess right when I graduated in 2007, that's when we had the opportunity to buy the business. Actually, it was 2008.
So I graduated high school.
I graduated in 07, and we had the opportunity to buy the business in 08.
Okay.
And so what ended up happening is they were a corporated company. They were bought out by another company. So at the time, it was One Source Landscape, and they got bought out by ABM Industries. So annually, we do roughly, at that time, we were doing around $4 or $5 million a year in revenue. They said that we only accounted for 1% of their total revenue. That's how big this company was.
Jeez.
Wow.
Jeez.
And so they were like, hey, you know, what y'all do on the interstate is more of a risk to us and a headache than anything. So we're just going to dissolve that part of the company and give y'all, you know, severance packages and you can go about your way.
Whoa.
And my dad was like, well,
Not what I thought you were going to say.
I got 65 people, including my immediate family that works for us here. I can't do that. So he's like, I tell you what, just, you know, everything is sitting here on my property, all your equipment and stuff. Sell me the equipment. Let's make it a turnkey deal. Sell me the equipment, sell me the contracts, let me overtake the employees. I'll take it off your hands. They gave us a price on it. We bought it from them. 2009, we went into business.
That's wild.
So it was my two brothers, my dad, and myself. And we've been in business ever since.
Hell yeah.
So
that's awesome.
it worked out. And, you know, a lot of those same guys that started with us in 2009, they're still with us to this day.
That's amazing.
You know?
Damn, it worked out well. I mean,
worked out really
it's
well.
better that y'all are doing things on your own now, too.
It is.
And I'm
It is.
curious, like, what would like, obviously, you got cars that run, I mean.
Yeah, if they get hit.
Have y'all had any issues like that?
So, yeah, we have, man. Like, you know, so 3 years ago, we had a situation where our truck was parked over in the emergency lane. So, you know, we pick up trash along the interstate.
Yeah.
And he was in the emergency lane, and there was a guy that was in a car. He had 2 kids in the car with him. Neither was restrained. One was like 3 years old, and the other one was 5 years old. One was in the front seat. The young was in the front seat. Guy comes around a curb. He's on the interstate. He's running 92, I believe it was. He came around, and we were sitting in a curb, and when he came around, he was halfway between the shoulder and on the highway. Came around the curve. He hit our truck from the rear. When he hit our truck from the rear, our guy that was driving the truck, at the time, he wasn't driving. He was on the outside. It hit him, and when it hit him, it pushed him over into the side of the road. One of the kids was ejected from the car. Car pushed over, hit an Explorer. Explorer ran off in the median and hit our other guy that was in the median.
Oh my gosh.
Both of our guys, one of them went to immediate surgery. He's still living. He's perfectly fine. He's back to normal. My other guy that was near the truck, he's probably disabled the rest of his life, but I mean, he's not, he can walk, but it's just not, he's not normal. You know? Kid died on impact.
Wow. Yeah. So
what about the other kid?
Other kid, he's okay.
Okay.
And the dad, he ended up, he was in really bad shape.
Damn.
Yeah, but I'm not really sure what he ended up.
I mean, that is nuts, man.
That's the answer to the liability question right there. I mean, God bless. There you go.
And you know, it was nothing that we were doing in the wrong at all.
Right.
Like, you know,
You're just doing your job.
we were just doing our job.
But they just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, that would be which, you know, hate to say it
And
like
you don't
that in a
even think
situation
about
like
something like
yeah,
that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, then you go from that to, there's been moments where, like I said, you know, we pick up trash and everything on the interstates and the right of ways. Like, our guy, actually one of our guys was mowing, and as he was backing up, we tell him all the time, hey, don't run over anything, because if you run over it,
You shoot out.
it's going to be either A, it's going to shoot out, or either B, if I cut up that piece of paper, I can get down and get up, you know, pick up this big piece of cardboard. But if I cut it up, it's in
Right.
Ton of pieces.
500
yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you know you see anything like a pillow or stuff like that,
That makes sense,
So
yeah.
he's backing up and he saw a pillow. And he was like, "Oh, let me get down and move this pillow." He gets down, mind you. Now we're cutting grass that is 4 or 5 feet tall. he gets down and he sees the pillow, so he goes back there to move it. He gets back there, it's a dead body.
Oh my Lord.
Oh shit.
Yep, dead body. We're right there in the heart of Memphis.
That's crazy.
Just on the side of the road.
See, literally the rock shooting out is the one thing I thought I didn't think about either one of these scenarios.
So if he wouldn't have grabbed the pillow, he would have ran over the dead body.
He ran over the dead body.
Oh shit! If he would, I didn't even think about that. If he wouldn't have listened to what you told him,
Imagine
to do.
that scene.
Oh my God!
Mowed up body.
We called the police and they came out and they did, their investigation. Like they literally interviewed him for like 3 hours as if like he did it or something. But
I just threw up in my mouth a little
Dude,
bit.
whatever. Just
Trust
keep
me,
going. Just keep going, Joe. We'll do that every minute.
I've got so many different stories, like after on the interstate, I can tell you from like that to where they've been out there and man, they're picking up paper and next thing you know, he sticks down and he picks up $100 bill and he's like, what the hell? And he looks straight ahead and by the time he finished picking up, it was about $15,000.
No.
Damn. So what, did y'all collect that?
I mean,
I mean, we didn't find it.
Dude, no one's claimed it. I guess I got to put it in my pocket.
Oh no.
So
That's pretty wild, man.
It is, man. It is. The things that you find out on the interstates, like
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's nuts.
It's crazy to think about. Just keep going, might as well.
Okay. So that being said, how
You
I
were
want
talking-
to go back to
yeah.
the farming thing too. At the time when your dad started, like you said, y'all have 400 head of cattle now. So where was it at the when you were a kid?
So growing up as a kid, there's a difference between commercial cattle and registered cattle. It's kind of like a dog. You can get a normal dog and a registered dog. One's going to cost more than the other.
Yeah.
Growing up, we just had commercial. So it was like one of those things, hey, we had cows, we calf them, and we sell the calves, get the money off of them. Growing up, we had 100 head growing up.
Yeah.
And as we grew up, he started to get out of it a little bit just because as I got older and as I went off to school, he really didn't have the help around there. And then, my dad, he was getting older.
Of course.
And so he got out of it. And then once he got out of it, I guess when I was 22-ish, I think probably about 6 years ago, he called me and he said, hey, I ain't got nothing to do, during the wintertime. Because, see, our busy time is April through November.
Can you explain I know this is like a really stupid, like maybe a dumb question, but can you just explain for somebody like they're 5 years old, like whenever somebody has a farm in the way that you're describing, like what that entails? Like what are they doing? How do they turn that into like a business, right? Like
I got
these
you.
kind of things.
I got you. And so he called me and he was like, hey, he said, I bought me some cows. I was like, what? Like, dude, 65 years old, what you buying cows for? He's like, I ain't got nothing to do. He was like, I just bought 5. It just give me something to do. And I was like, I understand. Okay, no big deal. He's just like, it's just something, something to do. And so when I went down there and I saw them, they were registered cows. Registered cows look completely different than, you're talking about commercial cow is 700-800 pounds. Registered cow is 1,700 pounds.
Like the luxury version.
Yeah. So I'm like starstruck. I'm like, holy shit, those are beautiful, Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, it accumulated from 5 to 10 to 20 to 25 to 100.
Oh my God.
Then we got land here in Middle Tennessee. And once we got our land right there behind our house, then I said, well, I'm just going to get like 10.
That's how it goes.
Same thing.
Now we got 150 here.
Oh my goodness.
He's got 250 there.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
But to kind of like circle around and answer your question, like, I mean, a day in the life of us is more so, we wake up, we go check everything. So we have to check all the pastures. All of our pastures are numbered 1 through 8. And as we're checking the pastures, we're having to check, especially this time of the year, we have to check for if a cow is calved. It's been like one of our biggest things. Like if we have heifers, which are first-time moms, so I guess you could say, if they're calving, we have to watch them because a lot of times the calf will be breached or the calf will he may be too big that he can't come out and she needs assistance.
Yeah.
So we have to get him up there to the barn and physically pull them out.
You're talking about when they're delivering?
Yeah.
Okay,
When they're delivering.
Gotcha.
So a lot of times, like I said, it's a lot that goes into it. So we've got 2 guys that stay on the farm 24/7 and they're just always there, working and watching and stuff. But, they check all the fences in the morning, make sure no trees or anything are falling. They check for new calves in the morning. We check, make sure that the water still, because once it gets cold like this, pipes can freeze. So we just got to make sure they get water. We have to put hay out once a week, and then also just giving them grain food 3 times a week. So I try to keep their weight on them, but it's a lot that goes into it. It's not one of those things that's just like, oh, I got cows, they're good, go ahead and take care of themselves. And which, during the summertime, they do take care of themselves for the most part, because they just eat nothing but grass. But I mean, we put a lot of time and effort into it. It's like, we give them their vaccinations 2 times a year. Mm-hmm. So, April and September each year. Calves, whenever they're born, they get a vaccination as soon as they're born. They get another one 6 weeks later, so it all depends on if it's a steer. If we're going to make them a steer, we have to band them. You know? So there's a lot that goes into it. So
that you got Ruck out there to do it?
Man, he came out there one time.
He came out there.
You're ranching. You have a cowboy hat on.
I need a cowboy hat.
He actually came out there. We had just had a calf born, and I told him, I said, "Hey man, I need your help." He's like, "What's up?" I said, "I need you to hold a calf, and I'm gonna band his nuts." Like, he was like, "Okay." So he gets and he's holding the calf, and he's like literally, you can see the veins popping out of his arm.
Motherfucker was strong.
He said motherfucker was strong.
So I put the band on him and stuff, and he got up, and I was like, "You didn't expect him to be that damn strong, did you?" He was like, "Absolutely not."
Calf. I'm like, I
just
got
born,
this.
right?
Yeah, just born.
I got this.
Small ass calf.
I grabbed him, he jerked. I'm like, oh shit! Like, I gotta man up.
Yeah. So
what do you? Again, this may be a dumb question, but what do you do with when you say they accumulate? Are you?
So we accumulate them all enough to sell. So either we, like a lot of the heifers, a lot of the girls, we'll keep them, some of them, and we'll breed them, moving forward. So that kind of like adds to our herd.
Gotcha.
But as for if it's a male cow or bull, we cut them and put them over there in the pasture, and we get them big enough, and we sell them. Either we have direct market that we sell them to, or we'll sell them at an auction or a sale. Now, on the flip side of that, you can go to registered sales as well. Some of our registered cows, like literally, I've got one cow that we paid $10,000 for, but that one cow that we paid $10,000 for, she's got a daughter that I've been offered $35,000 for.
Gotcha.
So what's interesting is one of the oldest forms of wealth was cows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you talk about the runes on this mala, right? There's one called Fehu, and Fehu essentially stands for wealth, but it means cow. And so you think this ancient symbol, people directly correlated with cow as the meaning. And but that's what back in the day, that's what it stood for. Yeah. Like the more cattle you had, you were known as a wealthy individual. So
and I didn't really understand it growing up versus now. So for now, it's a hobby. It's fun. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, we make money out of it too. But growing up, looking back on it now, and my dad explaining it to me now, he was like, "Hey, I only kept cows around because if I needed some money, I can go get I had money walking around.
Just a little living
somebody would buy it.
Yeah. He was like, if something came up and it was like, hey, we need $2,000, let's go sell these 2 cows real fast. Yeah, I get my hands on money real fast.
Do you ever have to worry about people coming and breaking your fence down or something, taking them?
Nah.
Too big and heavy and shit. They wouldn't even be able to.
It's not like Yellowstone.
Nah. They're not gonna come take me. Nah.
What about coyotes and stuff?
So we run donkeys inside of there with them.
Okay.
So donkeys actually.
Donkeys are mean.
Yeah, they're mean. They fight off any kind of wild animals or anything.
Interesting.
But realistically, the cows, they fend for themselves. Even when I go to band one, you'll see all the cows kind of start huddling around me.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
What the fuck
my friend.
What the fuck are you doing to my baby?
Yeah.
And if you get an old mama, she's really like, hey,
not happy with it.
Not at all. So unless it's just like a newborn calf, they really don't fuck with them. They really don't.
Interesting. Because they're weak, right?
They're weak.
Yeah.
So they're weak, and when they come out, and most of the time you have to be there because you're looking for the mama cow to she's gonna lick her and clean her off, dry her off. Mm-hmm. As long as she does that, they don't really get that smell. And then when she has her afterbirth, probably the worst thing ever. You probably too much information, but they eat their afterbirth.
Nice.
If they don't eat it, we have to pick it up and move it on because the buzzards will come in, and so buzzards will come in, and they'll just start beelining straight at the calf.
Damn.
Straight at the calf. Because it's just kind of like, oh, something's something's fresh over there. Something's dead, you know.
This episode is sponsored by Desert Roads Arts. Check out her stuff. She's got these very powerful rune malas that she makes handmade. She puts a lot of intention into them. They have each rune carved into each rune is carved into each bead twice. So she takes her time and just channels a lot of intention into these pieces. You know, if you're looking for that ancestral power and you want to connect with the gods, this is the place for you. Check out Desert Rose Arts on Instagram and use the code RP15 for 15% off at checkout. Thank you.
This is Charles Rucker with Ruck Nutrition. We are one of the fastest growing supplement companies in the world. We have products from pre-workout to protein, detox, vitamins. We also have 3 locations in Murfreesboro, one on Memorial, one also in Avalon, and Gold's Gym South. Make sure you check it out, rucknutrition.com.
It's so good.
Or don't.
And they just, I mean, they don't just, I get pissed when I get a cinnamon bun and it's just glazed.
Yeah.
No, they put it on there, bro. And so it just like melts into it. But they got like a berry one. They got like a s'mores one they do. You can customize it. There's one I like, it's called like I don't know, it's a bigger one. But they put the cinnamon bun with the icing, cookie dough, chocolate chips, chocolate syrup on this thing. It's like 1,200 calories. I ate, let's just say last Friday, I ate one of those. I ate a couple of the classic ones. I got a tub of cookie dough that I worked on. And you can customize the cookie dough too. But I'm telling you, this shit is phenomenal.
Where is it?
Cinnaholic. It's the Avenue right by Best Buy.
Oh,
dude.
10 weeks. 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Bro.
10 weeks.
10 minutes. 30 minutes.
That's gonna be
Charles,
Friday.
the sounds that Charles is over here making, dude, it's like,
Dude, I have in my planner on Fridays to like go get sweets.
That's what.
Yeah, I have like different things to go get. You know, I used to get Project Donuts every week, but they moved. But yeah, man, just it's my thing. That's why I just do burpees all the time because I just think about sugar.
My son has recently like picked up. He wants donuts after daycare every day, and at first I was like, nah, he's just playing. And we went by Krispy Kreme and we stopped by and we got him some, and I was like, he's just shooting the shit, and he ate them, and I was like, what the hell? So the next day, I pick him up and he said, what are you about to do? And I was like, go home. He's like, what about donuts, Daddy? I was like,
Oh God.
sure, let's go get some donuts. So I stopped by and I'm getting a 3-pack again. So this time when I get the 3-pack, they're hot. The hot sign's on. So he starts eating them. His whole life changed.
Yeah.
And then at that point, he was just like, they're hot, but they're yummy. And he said, this is the only way I want them from now on. So now I have to wait till the hot sign is either on. And I'm like, dude, you're 4 years old. How the hell do you?
Dang, man.
Hey.
Charles said, man, fuck all this shit, dude.
I love me some donuts.
Let me go get
Back to
some
the
of that.
podcast.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well,
Yeah, we kind of went on a thing about your business, but you were talking about how you were kind of set up and didn't have to go to college and that kind of thing.
well, yeah. So you went to you went to school. So I'm curious because you're big on family, and one, I want to know: did y'all meet? When did y'all meet during the college time or after? When did you guys meet?
So we met directly. So once I graduated from TSU, I ended up buying a house and I was living in Smyrna.
Okay.
At that point, I played sports and everything, and I was big, to the gym of working out and stuff. So I started working out. My cousin and I, Gold's Gym. At that time, that's when he was
Regional manager.
regional manager of Gold's Gym.
Stop.
So we're going into goals and we're working out and stuff. And there was a guy there. He played flag football, and so he was like, "Hey, you guys want to play flag?" And my cousin at the time, he was Mr. Football, and so we was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And I guess Charles was on the team, so we all get out there and we're playing flag. And little behold did we know we would be like friends for the next.
Yeah.
Nice.
We've been boys for about 20 years after that.
Yeah, we've been friends ever since then.
And by the way, Joe, sports.
Sports.
Sports ball.
It brings people together.
It does.
So yeah, we met, I guess that was like 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. And funny thing is, he introduced me to my wife.
Yeah, I want to get to that. You told me about this, but I feel like it needs to be said so she can hear it. Yeah, so go ahead and tell us about you meeting your wife.
So funny story is, we go in. My cousin and I, we go in there and work out every day. And then Ruck, he came to me one day. He's like, "Hey man, one of the girls up at the front desk that works with us, man, she wants to get to know you with her." I was like, "Who?" He's like, "Man, her name is Victoria." So I was like, "All right, cool, whatever, no big deal." And he introduces us or whatever, and we talk. And then later on that night, we hung out. And so we hung out, chilled, kicked it, one night stand. Never saw her again for like 3 years. 3 years go by, she pops up on Facebook. I see her.
Remember her?
I was like, dang, what's up? What's up with you?
What's up with you? How you been doing?
Where the hell did you go? Like,
Where did
what's
you
up?
go?
My God.
And honestly, like, it was just like, at the time, it was like, it happened, whatever, moved on. I never really even said like, hey, what happened to the girl? It was just whatever. And she said, I'm in a relationship. I mean, I just got out of a bad relationship. I hate men, leave me the fuck alone.
You're like, damn woman.
Yikes.
I was just saying hello.
Yeah.
I ain't heard from you in like 3 years. I wasn't trying to get on your bad side.
I can't believe this ends up being your wife, but yeah, continue.
So each day went by, and I just kind of sent her a message, and I was like, hey, I hope today is better than yesterday. Then like next day, I was just like, hey, I was just reaching out. I hope everything is good, whatever. So then she finally, like after about 3 days and about 4 messages, she was like, hey, I'm sorry for how I came off. I apologize. I just got out of a real bad relationship, and I was just sick of men, and I thought you were trying to come at me. I was like, no, I don't want you. I was just saying hello. Just trying to,
yeah, but no.
Yeah. I was like, I was just trying to, I hadn't seen you since that one night, and I was just like, you fell off the face of the earth, and it was, and.
But didn't you say she worked with you?
So she worked at
Yeah,
Gold's.
she worked for me.
So she
She
disappeared
like
from
quit
there?
her job the next day?
Yeah, she
too?
like disappeared from there too?
It was about, I think it was a couple weeks later, though.
Yeah,
she literally left.
Literally did.
She ended up
Okay.
leaving, yeah.
Interesting.
So, and so she ended up leaving, and yeah. But anyway, after I was messaging her or whatever, she was like, I asked her, I said, hey, you want to go have lunch or something sometime? And she was like, yeah, sure. So it ended up being dinner, and we went to Maggiano's downtown Nashville. So mind you, this girl lived in Tullahoma. We ate at Maggiano's downtown Nashville.
She didn't know.
I lived in Smyrna. I drove to Tullahoma, picked her up,
Oh my God.
drove to Maggiano's. Mm-hmm. We had dinner. Left dinner, went to the park, hung out. 12 o'clock. In my mind,
Yeah.
I already got it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
at this
It's in
point,
the bag.
you just
Yeah.
gonna stay at the crib, right?
Yeah.
I want to go home. The fuck?
That hurts. That hurts.
I drive her all the way back to Tullahoma. I drop her off. I go home. Next day, she had just wrecked her car. So, that was the whole point of me going to pick her up and stuff. So the next day, she was like, hey, what are you doing? You want to hang out? I was like, yeah, sure. Go to Tullahoma.
Oh my God.
I pick her up. She comes back. I said, hey, you can stay upstairs. You can lock the door. I don't give a damn what you do. But I'm not going to keep
not
going
driving
back.
to
Like, I
Tullahoma,
can't
yeah.
keep doing this.
Yeah.
And she ended up staying the night. And about middle ways through the night, like she came downstairs and she's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing either. And long story short, she started driving back and forth with my car. And then she brought her stuff over to the house and she never left.
Yeah.
Wow.
The rest is history.
And
The rest is history.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And then
That's
so
crazy.
now we've been married we'll be 7 years in May, and we've got 2 beautiful children.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool how that played out, man.
And she was like,
It is.
and I told her this morning, I was like, I'm gonna tell a story. She fucking tell everybody else anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So was there any like hesitation with the distance at all or no? Like I know you guys, like you said, you guys were driving back and forth, but was that ever like a thing that came up as a?
Nah,
You said
not
it because
really.
it progressed really quick.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. I mean, and don't get me wrong. Like I said, I guess we kind of knew of each other for a while,
Right.
And then so we finally like hooked up or whatever, hung out, and then it was just like that long period break. But then when we reconnected, I don't know. It was just it felt right.
You just kind of picked back up.
Yeah, we picked back up.
Yeah.
It felt right. And as we got to know each other a lot better, and where she was at, what I was at, what she was doing, what I was doing, it connected. Like I had just got out of when I say got out of, it was about, I had been single for about a year and a half or so. Chick I was with, she was freaking.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah. So like I needed time to
I'm gonna guess that means crazy. That pause. Okay,
yeah.
I just want to.
I had bite marks on my arm from where she hit me.
Understatement, crazy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it
just
was
want to make
like-
sure we're on the same page there.
Yeah, like it was crazy. Yeah, so, but she set me up for my wife. It was one
Right.
of those things that I learned a lot from that. I needed to go through that and be with someone that didn't appreciate me and so forth on for me to understand how to appreciate my wife,
Right.
and how to take care of my wife and my kids and so forth on. And yeah, things happen.
And it's like we were having this talk the other week about that, And I could sit here and talk about my past relationships and be like, holy shit, but at the end of the day, every one of my past relationships set me up for my wife.
I did.
And like the timings where it's supposed to be, like, I'm glad I didn't meet her several years down the road because we weren't the same people.
Right.
And things may not have worked out, but now we met each other last year and it was the perfect timing for us. And we had to experience some hell to get there, but I mean, there's nothing better. So,
Well, as guys, it takes us a little time to grow. So,
Yeah.
it takes us, us going through bad relationships to learn like what we don't want, what we're not going to accept,
you just gotta
and even learn how you want to treat somebody else too.
exactly.
Oh, it does. And, 100%, like, in my opinion, don't get me wrong, even though from my perspective, like, it was a tough relationship, but it wasn't all her. Like, I had things too that
Oh, yeah.
was absolutely wrong. And so it was one of those things, like you said, I found out, I don't need to do this, or I don't need to act like this, or I don't need to, react to situations like this or whatever.
Oh, without a doubt.
And so it taught me a lot, in terms of how to treat and how to do things going forward. So,
and I think it's awesome too that, like, it's the same kind of thing. Y'all had to work through some other stuff in order to come back around and be right for each other. And I'll tell you what, you're lucky because every time I ever reconnected with somebody, I'm like, why the hell did I reconnect with this person? I'm like, damn it, I should just left that where it was.
That is rare.
Because that happens. You're like, shit, why?
Yeah.
There's a reason we stopped talking in the first place.
yeah.
So, but no, it worked out well, and now you got a beautiful family.
Man, it did. It definitely did. And her sister, I'll never forget it. When we reconnected, her sister, she told me, she said, we laugh about it to this day. She introduced me to her sister after the fact, and she said, if you hurt my sister, I'm going to kill you. I was like, oh, well, fair enough.
shit.
I was like, but
She
I don't,
would, too.
It sounds like some shit my sister would say.
don't really know why you feel that way about me. She was just like, yeah, because most of the guys you bring around are piece of shit. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, well, I'm not.
Hey, we broke the streak on that one. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, I know. Some sisters, I think they just feel like they got to make that point. My sister, I'm pretty sure my sister's told girls that in my life. I'm
I
like,
definitely
yes, I'm
feel
fine.
like your sister has told girls that.
You met my sister.
Charles is like, Charles.
Yeah.
She's
I was
very
like, she told me
straightforward.
that. She said that to me.
So, like, 100%.
Yeah, man. But that's really cool. And so now, okay, so you obviously met Charles, and I want to know about, like, your current businesses and, like, how things have expanded. Like, you got the cattle, this, that, and the other, because I know you talked about some other things you're involved with. But y'all's, since he's here, like, y'all's relationship, how does it grown into what it is now?
Man, so funny story. I got a story for everything.
Hey, good thing we're doing a podcast.
I
my
know,
man.
right? I know. So my wife and I, we owned a salon. It was Coral Salon right here in Murfreesboro,
Okay.
where we had about 22 people that worked for us. It was nail salon, barbershop, full hair salon. It was waxing,
A little bit of everything.
everything.
Nice.
You could go in there. It was 6,000 square feet. You go inside. It was like a stop, one and all. Like, we even had permanent makeup, tattooing, and everything. We've been doing that. We started off in a small suite that was off of Thompson Lane, and expanded from there. And we moved over to Northfield, right there behind the Kroger Plaza. It's called Georgetown area, whatever. It's like, yeah.
Okay.
So we were in there, and we had 3,500, 4,000 square foot. Outgrew that, and we expanded over and just made it big. Well, we've been doing that for about 10 years. And it just got to where it was just like, yeah, we're making good money, but just managing 22 women, it just kind of took a toll.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
A lot of different, like, you know, and I say this, it's whether it's men or women, when you're managing people, it's one of those things that it's almost like it's 44 people because you're still dealing with, like, their issues or significant other, you know what I'm saying, when they come to work, especially if they don't know how to leave stuff at home.
You know, that makes sense.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah. And so, you know, it kind of got to the point we were just like, you know, we don't really need it, but I tell you what, let's just kind of sell this portion, dissolve this portion, and we just kind of go buy some horses, which we did.
Cool.
And we got the cows. We'll enjoy that. We got landscaping. That's our bread and butter. We're good. We'll just relax. Get the kids ready to start doing stuff. Well, inserts this guy. So once we sold everything and had it all out of the way, that's when he was buying his, you know, that's when he was opening his business and where Strong Body is.
Yeah.
And so I called him one day and I was like, hey, man, what's up? What you doing? And he was like, man, I'm over here putting some shelving together. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, well, I'm going to swing through and help you. I was like, you know, we're not doing anything. So Victoria and I, we go over and we walk in and he's putting some shelving together and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. I was like, so when you plan on opening?
Yeah, I learned that I'm not good at building things.
He's like
people see the store now, but if y'all saw what I was trying to do at the beginning,
he's like, I'm pretty sure that's gonna make that fall off.
I don't even know what I was thinking. Dude, I really don't.
I'm not.
Nothing was level. It was like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's like, are you planning on putting things on that? Just to be clear.
And so I was like, so what are you gonna do with the floor? He's like, well, we're just gonna keep the floor like it is. And I was like, I was like, what about the paint? He's like, oh, yeah, we're done painting. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, he wasn't making me feel good about my decisions.
Yeah.
I was like, so what about that piece of furniture right there? You going to incorporate that or what are you going to do? Yeah, we're going to use that for like, you know, product shelving. Yeah, so let's talk.
Yeah.
And so we started talking and then that's how we became business partners. And like literally, like I had a crew come in and they gutted everything out. And that's how we kind of got on the same page and started doing stuff. And so wasn't even trying to go into business. It just kind of happened. But like I tell him all the time, if it wasn't him, it wouldn't have been anybody. I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
You know, my wife and I, that was kind of the connection that we had because Victoria, she knew him and I knew him. So it was like one of those things. We felt comfortable doing it. So it wasn't like it was just a random person that we were going into business with.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, and that was one thing. It's like, you know, even before they got into business, I would hit him up and ask him, you know, business questions and stuff because I knew, you
gain some insight.
Yeah, I knew what what he's done and everything, and like, you know, business wise, I've done everything on my own, and so. It's been, you know, trial and tribulation, you know, learning different things.
I know how that be.
Yep. We feel you on that one.
You know, you bump your head a lot. So, you know, he's been a good mentor for me even before he was part of Ruck Nutrition. And so it was one of those things like, man, when we, you know, talked about, you know, them being part of it, I was excited about it. And I was excited about it just from learning from him and learning the knowledge when it comes to, you know, business. And then, you know, we got deep into it, and then now he loves it.
Yeah,
you know?
I love it.
At first, I knew he was just in it because he loved me.
I was gonna ask you about that though. So you go from all the things you had your hands into, and like, but this seems like it was a particular investment in him, not necessarily supplements or like something.
Absolutely.
For sure. And I knew that, but I also knew the industry, and I knew how much fun it was.
Yeah.
And they have fitness backgrounds, like you know, they've worked out before. You know, they've been working out, and you know, Vic's worked at the gym. You know, so they had that. So I knew once they got like in the deep part of like, especially like with the product side and everything, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to it, but it's fun to it. So I knew that they would get hooked, and they got hooked.
Fuck yeah, man. And it's really cool. You know, I can relate to that somewhat. You know, Landon, my barber, I started going to him when I moved up to Middle Tennessee. So back in 2015, and I always just enjoyed going to the barbershop. We always had like just the realest conversation, man. It's therapeutic, you know?
It is.
And as time carried on, you know, I was able to acquire a little bit of cash from my my accident. And I was like, hey, man, you know, if you ever get the opportunity, you want to do your own thing, like just let me know. I'd like to be a part of that. Because he was really good at what he does. He's very innovative in his mind. You know, he was at a different shop. And I was like, man, this guy would just crush it on his own. And that opportunity came around. He hit me up, and long story short, I mean, he's absolutely killing it. You know, he's got that barbershop stays full. He stays busy. Right. He's cutting for Jelly Roll and all these people, you know, and like he's built up that reputation, and he can do things how he wants. And and he's got an awesome team around him. And I'm like, dude, I'm so stoked that I'm a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's someone you genuinely care for and love, but you also genuinely believe in them too. And you can find that combination, man. It's like, it's a beautiful opportunity.
And that's the thing too. Like, you know, there's been people in the past that have, you know, wanted to be part of Ruck. And, you know, that's my baby. Just like, you know, you have your own business and you gotta be careful. And so, that we were super excited to have them part of it. Cause, you know, obviously I've known them for 20 years. I trust them, but also I knew like they cared about it as much as we did. Yeah, and man, that's hard to find.
It's crazy because I think we were having a conversation last week, maybe before a show or something, and I told him, I said, you know, even though that like we know that this is his baby, I feel just as much involved and attached to it than, so awesome, you know, as he does. And
so
I'm
you take pride there.
I do. Like,
so
you know,
cool.
Somebody say something about Ruck Nutrition, or we're trying to do something with Ruck Nutrition. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just,
that's got to be amazing for you. I mean, it's your name too. It's not like it's very personal. You know what I mean? It's like it's your name.
Well, you know, it's just cool. Like, I didn't really think I would ever find somebody that loved the company as much as I do, besides my wife.
And you weren't necessarily looking for someone else. It just,
you know what I'm saying? And so, and that's the thing is, like, I knew when they first jumped on, he was doing it out of love for me.
Yeah.
But then, you know, because, you know, we've done a lot this year with rebranding and, you know, adding new products. So, like, now he's getting to see the ins and outs of everything.
Yeah.
You know, talking to manufacturing companies, you know, talking to stores, you know, designing a label, starting a product from start to finish. And so a lot of people, when they see a product on the shelf, they don't think about everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
And so, like, being behind the scenes and seeing all that is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's badass.
And so, you know, and we got a big booth at the Arnold this year. And so that's going to be, I know when they go to the Arnold, because they've never been to anything like that.
I've never been to the Arnold.
I know when they go to that, like, their addiction is going to go, it's completely going to go to a new level.
Yeah, man, that's sweet. You know, and that's really cool that you know, that opportunity just
for sure
came along, man, organically. It's like the universe just kind of played it out for you. I mean, you know, I get it because I'm here and I'm like, I don't want an investor. You know, I'm going to do this on my own.
Right.
And, you know, but I don't know what would happen if that kind of opportunity came along, you know, especially if it's someone I love and trust, you know, that wants to grow with me and whatnot. But until then, you know, and I'm just going to keep going along.
Yeah.
You know, and I like how you've had him, you know, as a mentor as well. For you know, you're able to reach out to him pretty often for advice.
Right.
I don't think I have anybody like that. And I guess, you know, I don't really think about it. And maybe I do. I'm also just like super proud. And like, I don't like it's an ego thing, man. I feel like I don't want to ask anybody, you know,
Dude,
so I've hit a lot of bumps, you know, and there's good and bad to that because there's a lot of people out there with a lot of solid information that you can learn from.
It is.
But there's also that the fact that like you're going to take some harder hits, but you're going to learn a lot of damn lessons.
Yeah.
So
you're hitting everything that I was going to ask you. That was basically going to be my question. It's like, you know, he comes in like with the shelf, you're building the shelf, right? It's like a perfect representation of kind of what you're talking about. Cause it's like, you didn't think about that. You're just like, oh, the shelves need to be put up. I'm gonna go put up shelves. Turns out, that's not really your thing.
Well,
and you were gonna do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but you maybe wouldn't have called him and said, hey, come over and help me with the shelves. But when it was somebody that you cared about that genuinely was offering something, it's like it's different than somebody you don't know being like, hey, I want to be a part of this. Here's $20,000.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey man, he's coming over to help. You know what I mean? That's got to be almost like a refreshing moment where you're like, holy shit, finally somebody who actually cares.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
So my initial thing is I was like, hey, look, you know, we'll come in, we'll help out, we'll get you situated. I was like, cause, you know, as far as like physically doing stuff, like that's my thing.
Yeah.
I can gut something out, make it look, you're like, oh, perfect. I was like, hey, once we do that, we're out. Like when I say we're out, like you don't really need us. Like you run it. That's your baby. And grand open happened, and we was at the grand opening, and so many people came in, and we were selling stuff, and I'll never forget it. I had a jogger suit on, and I was standing behind the counter, and I was checking people out, and like literally everybody that came in there was freaking in shape because obviously they came there, they were supporting Ruck.
Yeah.
And we're just checking people out, and so like at the end of the day, once everything cleared out, I looked at my wife and I was like, hey, if we're gonna be part of this, we can't be back here fat. I was like, I feel real.
Right.
I feel real out of shape right now. So like immediately, like, I was like, you know what? Screw this. Like,
That's awesome, man.
I'm getting in the
Yeah.
gym.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
And so funny thing is, like, at that particular moment, like that same day, we had met Ramon,
Yeah,
Alpha
Ramon
Cookies.
came in, yeah.
So, eating the cookies, he was telling us about the cookies and stuff. And I was like, yeah, And so kind of fast forward a little bit, she started training with Jackie, and I started training with Ramon. And it was just like everything just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it also inspired you to like, take care of yourself and kick ass that and the
1000%.
physical aspect too.
And I tell them all the time, I say, they'll be like, hey, man, I just want you to know, like, truly appreciate you and Victoria coming on and being a part. And I'm like, dude, what you don't understand is I truly appreciate being a part of it and allowing us to even come into it. Because this is my thing. It's hard for us to come into something that he's built and worked so hard for. And then he said, hey, you know what? I'm okay with giving you a portion of, what I've worked hard
What you built,
for.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
you've built.
Yeah.
And so even to allow us to even do that was just humbling within itself. And so to do that, and like I told him, I said, hey, look, you don't understand what y'all have done for us from a health standpoint. Like, this is something we needed to do. And it's something that I don't even know necessarily we thought about it, because, a lot of times you kind of go through life and you're just going through. You don't really think about, you are who you're around. You know what I mean?
Oh, without a doubt.
And as soon as we started getting around people that actually cared about what goes in your body and what you're actually, protein and stuff like that or whatever, and meal plans and all this, and you're like, man, I ain't got time for all that. But now it's just like, I'm there warming up meals.
Just
and he's
part of
warming
it.
up.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is something I harp on too, man. One, people tend to respect people that like take care of themselves, their health. If you look physically fit, people are going to be, say you get someone that's a speaker in a room, right? You got a guy that's got $1 million, like multi-millionaire. You got another guy. One comes up there, he does not take care of his physical health. People are going to be more attracted to listen to the guy that takes care of himself physically as well, because it's like, man, I could trust him because first of all, he can take care of himself, and you're setting an example, and that's and if you're going to be attached to this brand, you want to look the example, right? It's like being a trainer that's out of shape. It doesn't make any sense.
Makes no sense.
You know what? I don't believe in, it's controversial, I don't believe in body positivity, because it creates comfort. And that bleeds into everything else in your life. So if you get really comfortable with just being whatever, then you're going to get comfortable in every other aspect of life, and you're never going to grow. Be positive with your body, but also move forward and try to progress and be better. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that carries over in life.
Yeah, and I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, Logan, a few months ago, I was like, hey, man, I want people to really take us serious. Like, we need to be jacked and shit on here. Like, I don't know. This is my mindset, right? I was like, I want to set a good example. And when guests come on, I want them to see, like, oh, these guys, like, take care of themselves, And I was like, and so he'll text me. He's like, man, I've been going to the gym. He's like, just taking steps back into it. And I'm like, hell yeah, man. And that's important to me, because if I put in a lot of effort to take care of myself, like every day, I make sure I get it in. And if he's going to be a part of this long term, I want us both to be setting that example, Plus, it brings us closer together, and it's going to force a lot of growth overall. So yeah, man, I think that's a great thing, man. Just benefited you big time. Yeah, both of you guys.
Yeah, man, it literally has been so much fun. Me and Dakota, we are so grateful for them, and like I said, we got a lot of big things coming up, and it's just been fun just doing things with them. Like, learning learning more about business and different things like that, and then when they get excited and learn something about the fitness industry and different things like that, it's been fun. It's been a really fun year.
Hell yeah, man.
I also feel like investors don't look at it that way, right? Like they don't, like you said, you were humbled that he would allow you to be, and somebody may look at that as like off of their first instinct as backwards, maybe. Like he should be appreciative that you're coming to help.
Right.
But realistically, if you care about the business that you're investing in, then you would appreciate what they've done to get it to a point that you would care about it, to invest in it, right?
Well, and most of the time, from an investor standpoint, the investor is looking to say, hey, I got X amount of dollars that I'm going to put in you, and once it's done, I'm going to get my dollars back, plus interest and whatever.
Yeah.
That's the way they look at it.
Yeah.
And
it's a business transaction.
For me, it's not going to be if it's going to be an investment, it's going to be an investment that is not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
It's going to be to actually help you. And I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
term.
I want to teach you the things that have been taught to me. I want to learn things along the way as well. You know, it's going to be a mutual situation. And, you know, we've learned a lot, you know, and we've taught them a lot as well. The one thing I will say about the whole situation is sometimes it's hard to work with people, friends especially, family especially. We hadn't had any issues.
That's awesome.
We work really well together.
You got anything else for us, though? Oh, you did say there's a funny story to go. You got a story for everything. With your name, Vanderbilt.
Oh, okay, yeah. So my wife, not my wife, my sister-in-law, she was giving birth at Vanderbilt University, and that's where she worked. So, you know, I guess, yeah. So she goes there and she's giving birth. Well, I'm there and I'm, you know, visiting or whatever after she had birth for my nephew, because it was my first nephew, well, second nephew, their first child. I leave. Whenever I leave, at this time I've got a Camaro, and I'm leaving, and I pull out, and I'm right there on West End almost, I guess, or whatever. But when I get to the red light, I turn, but I just kind of like ease up to it, and I turn, you know. I wasn't paying attention that it said no turn on red. So when I make the turn, lights pop on. Like, what the hell is the police pulling me over for? He comes up to me. It's a Vanderbilt police. He comes up. He says, you know where I stopped you, right? Absolutely no idea. No, sir. He's like, you ran the red light. I was like, oh, man, I didn't know I couldn't turn. He's like, yeah. He said, license and registration, please. I give him my license. I give him my registration. He walks about 15 steps. He turns around. He comes back to the car. He gives me my license and my registration. He says, Mr. Vanderbilt, I'm so sorry.
No way.
I pulled you over. He was like, I did not know who you were. This is my badge number. This is my name. Have a great evening. I apologize. Take care.
That is insane.
And for like a split second, I was like, what the fuck just happened? Oh,
you're like,
shit.
Vanderbilt.
He thinks that I'm...
Oh, yeah, because you were just like, what?
Oh, hey, I pulled off. I was like, well.
Because you are Mr. Vanderbilt. You don't think anything about that. You're like,
right.
I mean, he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, then. All right, well.
That's
Dude,
wild.
That's funny as hell.
That's wild.
That worked out, dude.
It worked
I'll be
out.
flexing it. Should I be over by Vanderbilt?
Yeah,
If someone
right.
says something, I'm like,
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
any excuse to wear a name tag.
Man.
read that.
And it's spelled,
Read that.
it's spelled exactly the same.
That's
BILT.
insane.
So
Yeah.
everything, yeah.
That's
But
cool.
it was pretty
nuts.
funny.
That's funny as hell. Well, Joffrey, it's been amazing having you here, but we have to close with the most important question. Now, this there's two sides to this question.
Okay.
So both personal and professional. Answer whichever one first. What is your relentless pursuit?
Got me right there.
There you go.
Oh, man. What is my relentless pursuit? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Let me ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Give me your definition of the relentless pursuit part of it.
So relentless pursuit embodies everything. I tell people all the time, you know, it's just never ending cycle to
Right.
keep going and going and going, right?
Because it's relentless.
Yeah. And so I apply it to my spiritual path,
Yeah.
my family,
Yeah.
my business, everything.
Yeah.
And so looking forward, so for example, I'll ask somebody and I'll be like, what's your relentless pursuit personal? They'll give me the personal one. They'll be like, to be an honorable man,
Yeah.
or to be someone that my kids look up to truly, or something along those
got you.
lines, right? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I was just more so saying, like, you know, what was your definition of, you know, relentless pursuit? But not necessarily giving me an example. But yeah.
Okay.
No, I got you.
Okay,
I follow where you're going now. So, I mean, as far as a professional standpoint,
What are you relentlessly pursuing?
yeah, as far as a professional standpoint, man, the sky's the limit, really. It's one of those things that nothing is ever enough. I'm not greedy, but at the same time, I want a lot.
Yeah.
I constantly strive for, until I even told him, I was like, to me, there's no competition out there. I'm my only competition.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to worry about what the next brand is doing. I'm not going to worry about what the next landscape company is doing. I'm not going to worry about, you know, what the next competitive professional bettor is doing. At the end of the day, I'm the only one that's going to stop myself from going to the next level. So for that part of it, it's just wanting to just continue to strive for greatness on that end.
Keep raising the bar.
Keep raising the bar.
Sure.
Nothing will never be good enough.
Yeah.
You know, there's no such thing as, you know, being, I think Kobe Bryant said something along the lines of that, like, I'm never the best. And as long as I know that I'm striving for the best, you know, it's hard to be the best or it's hard to be perfect. You can't, nobody's ever perfect. But if I strive for perfection, I'll constantly get closer to, you know, to being that. So that's something that I kind of live off, especially when it comes to a professional standpoint. As far as from a personal standpoint, honestly, man, just making sure that my wife and my kids and my family are taken care of. Like that for me, I think is more so the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, you can have all the money in the world or you can have all the assets in the world, but if you're not happy, it means a hill of beans.
Exactly.
So as long as they're happy, as long as they're taken care of, and as long as when I'm dead and gone, because, you know, something that we all have to do, they're structurally, physically, financially, everything taken care of, and whoever my family is, you know, that's reaping the benefits of it, that they're taken care of. So
hell yeah, man. And like you said, finding that happiness, that joy,
That's
know,
it.
where, you know, you can have all these things, these material things, but none of it really matters. I mean,
at all.
And it brings you back to, you know, people talk about all the time, being present and realizing the true things of value, and that is your family and stuff like that, man. And I do want to add on to, and I like that perspective on you talked about trying to strive for perfection or be the best, right? And it's a big thing for me. I want things myself to be as the best I can, or like the business to run as perfectly as possible. And one thing I'm really working on is trying to bridge the gap and understanding that I'm not going to be the best, or I'm not going to be perfect. Nothing is going to be that. And so, but that's my expectation. I build my head. So when it falls short, I'm like really hard on myself, like in almost a dangerous way to my mental state. So learning how to understand that and be like, well, Joe, you're not going to be perfect, nor are you going to be the best, but you can keep trying to do better,
keep trying,
strive for perfection, and you know, bring myself to that. So you seem like you got a good grasp on that, man. So those are beautiful answers, very well said, and I appreciate you, man.
Man, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed myself. I really wish we had 2 more hours to keep talking because I got a lot to talk about.
Hey, but if y'all want to listen to some more, head on over to Patreon because we're about to switch over. I love telling the story. I've told it 3 or 4 times on the podcast now. But have you seen the movie Air? I think is what it's called. This behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's a really cool movie.
Yeah, there's an agent, and obviously it was a real person, but there's an agent in there.
Watched it.
It's just about the shoes. He's not even Mike. He's not even in it. He's not even in it. Yeah. But the agent in that movie is like a dick the whole time. You know, he's like notoriously an asshole. And his stated goal in the movie is to sell his company.
Yep.
You know, I don't remember if he actually said a number, but his stated goal is to, I'm going to sell my company for $10 million. Like he gets into an argument at one point with one of the other characters about how, I may be a dick, but I'm going to sell my company for $10 million next year or some shit like that. And I just thought it was really awesome that they put this in there too. And came back to that. But in the end credits, when they tell you what ends up happening with all these people, he's sitting, shows him eating dinner, and then the text comes up, it says, whatever his name was, it's like, did sell his company, and he actually sold it for $50 million. Yeah. And there's a famous story that he was spotted that evening eating dinner by himself.
Mm-hmm. And it showed it in the movie. Eating dinner by himself.
Showed him eating dinner by, and then it just faded out too, just the way it's shot is because it's him eating dinner, and then as it gets there with the text, he's all alone.
50 million, you got all the money in the world. But
all the money, alone. And that's what you strive your whole life to accomplish.
Yeah.
And then you got nobody to share it with.
Nobody to share it with.
Some people have all the money in the world, but they have nothing.
Yep.
Nothing.
Absolutely.
You can have that's the whole thing. You can have, you can't have, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you can have all of it and look from the outside looking in, but you really are just depleted.
Yeah. And that's how people will remember him is sitting at dinner by himself after he sold his company. They won't remember his company.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is like
I don't even remember his fucking name, but I remember that.
Yeah. I always tell people like, when you leave here, like he said, we are all gonna die eventually one day. People are not gonna talk about how much money you had. They're not gonna talk about how many shows you won. They're not gonna talk about what kind of car you drove. They're gonna talk about the impact that you had on their life. And that's your legacy that's the legacy that you leave.
Exactly.
100%.
What kind of man were you?
Yeah, what kind of man you were.
Yeah.
So people get caught up into, finances and all the other stuff, but that's not your legacy. No. Your legacy is how you treat people.
When Kobe Bryant gets brought up, it's 9 times out of 10. Oh, I learned to be this. I learned this. I learned that. The mentality, the drive. For
sure.
That's legacy.
That's it.
That's legacy.
That's it. I agree.
I don't know how much money he had in his bank when he died that day, but I know that people still talk about his mentality and how they impacted him, or how he impacted them.
Yep. But
all right, hop over to Patreon, beautiful people.
Yep, this comes to a close. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming, and we'll have y'all back again, fellas.
Absolutely.
Hey, appreciate you, dude.
Thank you, Brad.
Sir.
It was an honor.
Always.